So let's make the wing 0 an EX standard then.
Alright.
What is going on guys, MJ2005 Gundam here, and today I'm going to be doing the Gunpla News Roundup video for April of 2021. Now sit tight and buckle in because there's a lot to cover. First of all, we do have the Barzam Advanced Zeta reboot version for a July 2021 release for 2420 yen. Now overall, I do prefer this version of the Barzam when compared to the original one that comes from Zeta Gundam. Just because this looks less cartoonish, it looks way cooler because of the darker color scheme, and overall the proportions do not look absolutely ridiculous to me. Now, not that the original Barzam is when compared to the original line art, but the design is just too outlandish for me to be captivated. Now this, on the other hand, captivated me a lot, to the point where I actually tried to get one, but of course bots are lining up in the pre-order store just to pick the stock clean. So of course I'd have to wait for August because of how P-Banda works in Hong Kong in order to pick up one of these at the shops. But anyways, I doubt that the original model is going to be as good looking as the ones that are shown off here because of the missing color details. For example, mainly the red on the thrusters over here I believe are going to be missing, and of course the red fingertips are going to be missing, but you will need to do those in and it would look fantastic. But it doesn't mean that this doesn't look fantastic on its own, because I just love this version of the Barzam. Now this is the bare bones Barzam with nothing too attractive when it comes to features. It's just the original Barzam equipment with a different outer shell. And of course here it is with its brother unit, the Xeon configure version, which I'm going to cover later on. And of course here we have some pretty nice looking details that I'm really looking forward to seeing. And you do have some pretty good joints that allows for pretty good ab crunches and arm articulation despite not using any polycasts whatsoever. And you do have the full loadout here. We have the beam gun that is mounted onto the right arm. You do have the Vulcan earmuffs and of course the pair of beam sabers. For the same exact release date and price, we do have the Xeon configure version of the Barzam. So yeah, this is basically a red version of the prior mentioned Barzam for the exact same price. Now, this does also have some differences though, because of course you can see the cross piece is completely different. It looks like a mega particle cannon, but I don't know if it actually is a mega particle cannon and can allow for the Barzam to piss on the enemies literally on the battlefield. And of course on the back you do have the Heisenblade armor. If you don't know what I mean, is that these leg pieces are identical to the ones used on the TR6 Heisenblade 2. So as to achieve the hover mode as seen right here, it looks as though the arms for the hover units are going to be articulated very well, so you guys don't need to worry about posing these things whatsoever. Although I don't think there are any rotational joints or rotary joints inside of here, so all they can do is go up and down, but you do have plenty joints for that to do so. And of course you do have the same exact detail from the previous Barzam, and I do think that the white is going to be missed out here, that you need to paint it in on your own, and that is going to be just a black piece in here. But I'm not really too sure, but who knows. And we do have the hover units and of course the exact same joints on the previous Barzam to achieve the exact same degree of articulation. So if I do get both of these things, it's going to be a twin review. And you do of course have the beam gun over here, which looks slightly different because Xeon. You do have the Vulcan earmuffs and of course the beam sabers. So these two only depend on your tastes to decide on which one to get. Which one of them would you pick up if you can only pick one of these up? Tell me in the comments below. Next on the list, we do have the high grade and the SD version of the Gunbase Limited Unicorn Gundam Perfectibility. Now to me, the color scheme just doesn't work because two prominent colors are trying to steal the spotlight from each other. Because to me, my color theory is you need to have one prominent color and one accent color so as to make the color scheme look good. This just doesn't look good to me. But just in case you want one of these of your own, these are already released because these are an April 24th release for 3,740 yen for the high grade and 1,980 yen for the SD. Next on the list, we do have these premium Bandai releases for Gundam Build Real kits. Now, if you don't know what Gundam Build Real is, it's basically like a real life version of Gundam Build Fighters, in which you build your Gunpla, scan it, and you fight with your own body, or if you want to cheat, using a phone as a controller in a virtual reality environment. Now, this is basically the TLDR of it. I'm not going to delve into it any further. Now, of course, here we have Nanahachi, which is basically the main protagonist team, custom build version of the RX-78-2 real grade, which does have quite a bit of blue accents, which I do think actually works for the original Gundam. And of course we do have the Char Zaku high mobility type. So yeah, I don't know why Char never had one of these. So to see a Char Zaku custom of the high mobility type Zaku 2 does look pretty nice. Of course, the upper body doesn't really look too different. I already have built the original real grade Char Zaku 2. It's a pretty good kit for what it is, but the lower parts over here are from the Johnny Raiden custom real grade high mobility type Char Zaku 2. These do not have a release month or price yet, but just know that they're coming down the line. Next up here we have a Gunbase Limited Penelope clear color version. So if you have built the Penelope, which I have, it's a pretty decent kit. I'm going to be reviewing it like later down the line. You can pick a clear version up. Like, of course, here you have the gigantic pegs and holes that you are gonna see because of the clear. So I'm not really too big of a fan of the clear version Penelope, but it is gonna be a May 7th release for 7,500 yen, just in case you want one of these in your collection instead of the standard Penelope. Next up here we have the Gundam Factory Yokohama Original Ecopla 1:144 scale high grade RX-78 FOO Gundam. So these are gonna be using Ecopla, which is basically recycled versions of plastic. So of course it is gonna be in an all black color scheme, which I do kind of like. It kind of reminds me of the Gundarium model kit, but yeah, it's Ecopla. So in black, you could easily go ahead and paint in your own color scheme, given that this kit has good enough part separation, but the panel lighting still freaks me out a lot. To go with that, it is also going to be releasing a 1:100 version of that. Both of these are going to be an April 2021 release, which means they are probably already released for 1,650 yen for the 1:144th, and basically 4,000 yen for the 1:100th. So if you want a Ecopla version of the RX-78 FOO Gundam, Gundam Factory Yokohama has you covered. Next up here we have the high grade Universal Century Pale Rider D2 Titans version for an August 2021 release for 2,420 yen. So this is basically the Pale Rider Cavalry with a different head. Not much I could say about that. If I picked up the Pale Rider Cavalry, I know what it is like to handle this kit right here. Of course it does come with the Hyper Beam Rifle and the shield, which is, no please, the black is all going to be stickers. And of course we do have the gigantic launcher over here from the original Pale Rider Cavalry. And of course the standard beam sabers, because we cannot forget about those. And of course we do have the beam javelin as well. So basically the same accessory loadout with the basically the same accessory loadout as the Pale Rider Cavalry, but it is in a different color scheme, which looks a little bit less patchy, which I do really like, and of course a different head sculpt. And I don't think this thing does come with the exam system or the Hades system, because I don't think this thing even has it. But please tell me in the comments below, because I'm not too familiar with the Pale Riders at all. Coming down the line, we do have the Gunbase Limited Core Gundam 2, and Alice Core Gundam Low Visibility set, which is going to be a May 2021 release for 3,630 yen. Now, this is a triple set for a different version of the Core Gundam 1, 2, and Alice Core Gundam. Now, I don't know how in the hell the Alice Core Gundam is a low visibility type, because it's in white, and it reminds me of the Spinacia very much. It looks more feminine in this color scheme. Do you guys agree? I don't know. But the Core Gundam 1 and Core Gundam 2 are definitely low visibility colored because of the black color scheme. And I really do like the pinkish chest pieces, and of course, well, the lime green chest pieces I'm really iffy about, but yeah, it's another color scheme for the Core Gundam 2. So if you are missing any of these for your own display, you can absolutely pick this one set up in order to have a supply for the Core Gundam 1, Core Gundam 2, and Alice Core Gundam. And here is the full loadout of the accessories. Of course, you do get the adapters from the Core Gundam 1, blue beans for the Core Gundam 1, the Core Hanger 2 for the Core Gundam 2, and of course the extra hands that comes along with that, an orange beans for the Core Gundam 2, and you have the extra armor rack, extra hands, extra heads, and of course you do have the beam rifle for the Alice Core Gundam, and of course we do have the absolutely nice looking aquamarine beam that comes with it. So yeah, an extra gun and extra core hangers. This is more of a reason to pick this up, but please don't pressure me into including these in my Core Gundam compilation, because I will not be doing so. Next on the list, well, memes. So Figure Art Standard Fumina Gunbase Limited colors. So it's basically everything that came in the Figure Art Standard Fumina, but with the Gunbase Tokyo color scheme. It's going to be a May 2021 release for 2,640 yen, just in case you guys want one of these. Moving on, we do have the clear version high-grade Gundam TR6 Heisen Blade 2 Ra. So another FU to P Bandai from Bandai. So this is going to be a May 2021 release for 6,419 yen. So relatively the same price as the original TR6 Heisen Blade 2 Ra. Nothing I haven't covered before. Please check out those reviews if you haven't, if you're considering to pick up one of these more easily, because Gunbase Limited, it will get imported one way or another. Next up, we do have a Eurofin Gundam Dive Into Dimension clear version for a May 2021 release for 1,870 yen. So a clear version of the Eurofin Gundam. Who'd have thought? The previous 3 versions of the Core Gundam do get a clear version, so why not the Eurofin Gundam? But the clear purple does look very, very nice to me. Like, I don't know why I'm captivated by it, but the clear purple does look pretty nice. However, the V-fin does look like it's going to be clear in the front because tinting is not strong enough. Moving on, of course, I will recommend against picking up one of these, just because if you don't want this to happen to your Gunpla, then I advise against it. But all jokes aside, this is the version GCP 1/100 scale Full Mechanics Freedom Gundam. But this is going to be kickstarting the Full Mechanics 1/100 seed line in China way sooner than the Calamity Gundam would, because this kit does look exactly the same as the 1/1 Freedom Gundam statue, apart from the horrible mold lines that thing has. And of course it does have pretty decent decal placement, and of course all the accessories. So it's pretty alright, but this is weighing on my conscience a little bit. And to add more insult to injury, here we have the SD version. This is going to be an SDEX standard, which is deserving because, well, I guess we don't deserve any nice things, I guess. But yeah, this is of course going to have the stupid accessory gimmick for high grades, which, why? But yeah, it's going to be an April 28th, 2021 release for 59 Chinese yuan. Same thing goes for here. April 28th release 2021 for 339 Chinese yuan. Moving on, we finally have something good to look at. The RG High New Gundam for September 2021 release for basically 5,000 yen. And this thing just looks absolutely amazing. Like, look at that knee bend. Like, it tickles my mechanical inner self's fancy. And of course, we do have some absolutely phenomenal armor separation in the back over here. You can see the knee separate. I don't know if this is part of the knee, but it does separate according to here. And of course, we do have the rear thruster flaps that can separate. This is just, I have no words for just to describe the real grade High New Gundam, because this thing just looks so amazing. The blue beams themselves, they are akin to the real grade perfectibility, and this is just fantastic. Of course, I am going to be reviewing this, so stay tuned for that. And we have the full accessory loadout. We have the full hands. You do have the Hyper Bazooka, a different looking beam rifle. You do have 3 beam sabers for some reason. 2 are stored in the shoulders, I think, and I don't know where the other one stores in. I don't know. It does have an arm holster, as so it seems. So yeah, 3 beam sabers does make absolute sense. And of course, a very, very nicely color separated shield. Although I'm not too big of a fan of this kind of patchy color scheme, this is the version of the real grade New Gundam they decide to go for, and I'm gonna appreciate it for what it is if they actually pull out the patchwork design in plastic. To go along with that, we do have the high grade Nightingale, which is going to be a July release for some reason. Now, I really wish they would have released the Nightingale and the High New Gundam together, because that would create more incentive to spend in that month. For 7,700 yen. Now, this is going to be a very, very expensive high grade. So, yeah, as for one release, this is going to be absolutely freaking expensive. And this is, oh my god, no, I can't stare at that. Trypophobia, okay? But anyways, this is going to have the sub-arms, which I'm very, very glad. And it looks as though they're going to implement it very, very well. And they are going to be able to hold the beam sabers that this kit does come with. Of course, this thing does use the beam tomahawk. And you do have the full accessory loadout. We do have the Ogata Mega Beam Rifle. Yeah, it's going to have the Mega Beam Rifle, a full set of hands. You do have, I think, clenched fists, and holding hands and some relaxed open hands, which are pretty nice. You have 4 beam sabers, or so it seems, and you do get 4 beam saber effect parts. Well, yeah, shame on the misogyny, huh? And of course, we do have the beam tomahawk effects from long ago. And you do have the shield, which looks to be fully color separated, which is very, very nice. Now, to give you a very, very brief statistics of this thing, this is as tall as the Sea Gundam, but 40 centimeters wide. That's the perspective that you have to consider. And of course, this may be coming in a gloss coating, so yeah, this kit is definitely gonna look nice. And of course, it does look like it has some decals. Next up, we do have the Wukong Impulse Gundam DX set, which is gonna be an August 2021 release for 1,540 yen. Relatively cheap when it comes to a DX set that includes the Wukong Gundam and of course the other silhouettes. So this is what we've already seen before, the Sha Wu Zheng silhouette. So it transforms the Wukong Impulse Gundam into the Sha Wu Zheng Impulse Gundam, which gives him a completely different personality, because apparently Wukong has dissociative identity disorder. And of course, you have the Zhu Ba Jie silhouette. So of course, this thing does have pig ears, because Zhu Ba Jie is a pig fused with a human, is an anthropomorphic pig human. And of course, here we have some gigantic gauntlets that allow for very heavy punching attacks to simulate the rake that is normally associated with Zhu Ba Jie, or the plow. I don't know what you call that thing. It's a farming tool that has many teeth. So yeah, we have the blades in the back. I don't know if they're going to be able to flip towards the front to be used as rakes, but who knows. And of course, here we have the full accessory loadout. Of course, we have the Wukong Impulse Gundam, and we have the Zhu Ba Jie silhouette and the Sha Wu Zheng silhouette. And of course, here we have the rear view of each of them. Next up, here we have the Nobunaga Gundam Epion Dark Mask version, which is basically a recolor, so it's nothing too different when compared to the original Nobunaga. Hobby Clubhouse actually released a review of the Nobunaga Epion, so if you want to check that out, go ahead. And this is basically the exact same version, except for basically a photo negative version of the Nobunaga Gundam Epion that has all the accessories. You do have the whip, you do have the sword, and you do have the exact same look. It's going to be a September 2021 release for the exact same price of 770 yen. Moving on, we do have the Tartar Wing Gundam Holy costume for a July 2021 release for 880 yen. So apparently Tartar has received a downgrade back into the EW version of the Wing Gundam. But of course, this thing does come with a lot of color detail that I am so dreading to see missing. And you do have the mask effect parts, which just does look pretty nice. And you do have the effect parts for the wings. And of course, you do have the effect parts for the sword, which looks absolutely freaking amazing. Cao Cao is apparently going to grow 4 wings in a powered up state, which is like the theme of the Heroes kits. If you are a fan of Cao Cao, then maybe you'll be a fan of this. Next up, here we have the Arson Lupin Gundam X. So I was wrong. The fedora tipped me off. It's not Michael Jackson. It's apparently Arson Lupin, which is going to be an August 2021 release for 660 yen. But with the fedora design, you may be able to customize this thing into a Michael Jackson looking Gundam. Who knows? But this is going to be using a satellite panel with the G device in order to create a gigantic weapon in the powered up state. It looks as though he is going to have different gadgets hidden inside of him. It's gonna the G unit can be stored in the back and inside of its cape, so it's basically like Reaper from Overwatch. And of course, you do have the satellite panels that can be mounted onto the back. So Arson Lupin, what do you guys think? He still hasn't appeared in the Gundam Heroes series yet, but maybe when we focus back on Zhao Yun Terminator, we will see him appear. Next on the list, we have the Vert Buster Gundam Officer. So this is basically the grunt version of the Vert Buster Gundam Core for a September release for 660 yen. So this is basically just the same thing as the original Sergeant Vert Buster Gundam with less detail. And of course, we have the pistol, we do have a beam baton, we do have a riot shield, and we do have the Justice Lock. So this is going to be a pretty nice looking grunt suit if you want to build your sergeant and the army of police officers. Moving on, we have the Sergeant Vert Buster Gundam DX set for a September 2021 release for 2,200 yen. Now the high price point has a reason, because not only does it come with the Vert Buster equipment, which looks absolutely freaking amazing from the front and back, this guy is going to be packing some serious firepower, and it finally has the vert that it deserves, the green. Now, it also does come with the DX parts for the grunt suits, so you do have the tilt rotor pack and you do have a roller skate pack. And of course, it does come with the weapons that the grunts come with, so the pistol, baton, Justice Lock, and Riot Shield, on top of the Buster equipment and the Sergeant Vert Buster Gundam. So yeah, here we have it. Some more equipment for your Vert Buster if you so choose. Moving on, we do have, this is something unfathomable, the SDE Standard Wing Gundam Zero. I'm so frustrated on how bad I come to this decision, because you do have the SD Cross Silhouette line. That's really, really good. The EX Standard line, I thought they were just going to do it as a one-off with the new Gundam and Sazabi, but apparently not. They're trying to revive something that is like, I don't know, absolute trash. They're beating a dead horse. And of course, it does come with the absolutely stupid accessory gimmick that nobody wants. Take a guess at how much of this kit is made up of stickers, apart from the eyes and sensors. I don't know anymore. If you're interested in this, it's gonna release for 660 yen in July. To go along with more memes, we have a Figure Standard C LCS Klein model kit with a Haro for an August release for 3,520 yen. Now, if only we have Jesus Yamato to go along with her. And of course, you can strip her down for some reason if you want her more exposed, and you do have multiple face options, which do look pretty nice. And you do have two Haros, with one just in a ball and one with the flaps open. So yeah, here it is, LCS Klein in Figure Standard line. If only we have Jesus Yamato to pair with it, am I right? Next, finally, something to refresh my mind. 30-minute missions. These things are absolutely awesome looking. Now, this is an option set 5 multi-wing multi-booster pack for a July 2021 release for 660 yen. Now, this is made for any of the model kits that have a twin peg system on the back. But this looks as though it is inspired by the Master Gundam's pack, but instead of containing a cloak inside of the backpack, it contains claws. And of course, you do have a V-fin extension, funnily enough, for the Spinacia, which is very, very awesome. This thing does inspire me to actually create some custom that utilizes a backpack that for surprise attacks. Maybe another Core Gundam Arbor, I'm not sure. I'm too tired to do one more of those. But if anything comes up that utilizes a theme of surprise attacks, then maybe this will come into handy. And of course, we do have some headpieces for the Spinacia. We do have a V-fin extension, and of course, is this supposed to be the Master Gundam, really? And of course, we do have two headpieces for the Spinacia to plug onto the back. And apparently, the binders can be attached onto the legs through the fine build mechanics. Moving on, we do have the customized weapons, Witchcraft Weapons, for an August release for 550 yen. Now, this could satisfy a lot of you guys who are going for mage vibes for your customized builds, because this set does come with staves and swords that remind you of like witchcraft. And of course, it does come with sigils, and of course, you can assemble everything into kind of like physical weapons, kind of like a scythe. But Of course, if I'm going to be getting this set for some custom build, I am going to keep it as a staff. You can customize one Gunpla into Megumin if you so fancy. And of course, you do have a shield over here that can accommodate for the sigil effect parts, or the magic circle. And of course, you do have palm effect parts, which can come into handy very, very well for me. And of course, those can accommodate for the magic circle effect parts as well. I'm absolutely looking forward to this set. Moving on, we have the extended armament vehicle dog mecha version for a September 2021 release for 858 yen. Now, this is basically the K9 dog pack without the backpack and more detailed looking bodywork. It does look like all of the limbs are going to be able to move, so you can pose it to your own liking. And over here, we can provide mechas with a dog head, or some backpack that is reminiscent of Cyborg from the Snyder Cut of Justice League. Moving on, we have some decals. So yeah, decals for the build divers kits. So here are a few examples, and of course here we have the gigantic sheet. You basically have all of the force insignias on top over here. Of course, you do have Captain Zeon, Kazami, GBN, the build decal over here, break decals, and of course some for the planet system, which is very, very nice. More decals to go with it. We have the Origin multi-use decals. So this sheet basically comes with all of the trims for the North American local type Gundam, which is very, very nice. And of course, you do have some miscellaneous decals that you can use to your heart's content for your Gundam the Origin kits. Moving on, we do have the Hathaway's multi-use decals. So this set is different when compared to the water slides that comes in the Xi versus Penelope set, but you can obviously use these here heart's content on your Hathaway's flash kits. Moving on, we do have the Gundam Age multi-use decals. So yeah, we do have Gundam Age 1, 2, 3, and White Wolf, some Pirates insignia, some Federation insignias. So all of these are going to be releasing in July for a price of 550 yen. Moving on, here we have some premium Bandai news again. We have the Wyndham and Dagger Earl expansion set for an August release of 1650 yen. Now, this includes the double horn pack and the multi-pack. Now, what surprises me about the multi-pack is that it does come with actual physical missiles for you to launch for somehow. And the double horn pack is just the long cannons. I don't know if these are physical ammunition or not, but if this is using physical ammunition, then I may have a use for it. And of course, it does come with the arm Schneiders for the Dagger and the Wyndham. Moving on with Gundam Seed Destiny, we have the Wyndham Neo Roanoke Custom. We have seen these from a country mile away, and they've only decided to release this now. It's nothing too special. It's basically the Wyndham in a different color scheme. So if you know what the Wyndham feels like to handle and to build, then you will know how good this kit is. I'm just not a fan of the color scheme. Don't convince me otherwise. Moving on, disappointments ensue, because we do have, oh my god, the Gundam Universe line is back in action with the Exia. This figure looks absolutely horrendous because the head is completely out of proportion. The GN sword looks comically large, and it doesn't have as much detail. And you do not get the blue pieces for the GN short and long swords. I don't think you can actually use the beam sabers that are on the back. They're probably just molded in detail, which is absolutely disappointing. And this is a September release for 3,300 yen. You can't pick up the real grade for God's sake. You can pick up the freaking real grade for cheaper. Let alone the high grade, which doesn't look the best, but absolutely looks better than what is presented in front of us. Of course, the high grade does have poorer color separation, I must admit, but if I were to go for an inferior looking Gundam Exia, I might as well pick up the high grade, because this is not worth it for the price. You don't even get the freaking shield, now that I realized. Pick it up at your own discretion. Next up, we have the Gundam Universe Freedom Gundam, which is the one they cocked up the least, for September release of 3,300 yen. Now, of course, you can connect the beam sabers together, which is very nice. The wings themselves look a little bit simplistic. The face looks a little bit out of proportion. And of course, well, the fat parts look to be clear. Why the love for the Freedom, I don't know. But next up, we have the Gundam Universe Gundam Heavy Arms. Now, with a simplistic design like this, and with a lot of onboard accessories, you would think that they will muck up this one. But no, of course the full open attack does look nice. The beam gatling looks a little bit too large, especially on the barrel, but whatevs, Kevs. But they couldn't even be bothered to color in the orange on the chest. The high grade has color separated orange pieces for the detail on the chest, and a freaking figure that is twice the price of the high grade couldn't achieve it. What is up? Like, honestly, what is up with the Gundam Universe line? Please, it's gonna be in the same release date for the same exact price. I'm not gonna reiterate myself. Moving on, we have a entry grade Strike Gundam light package version, which means it only comes with the arm Schneiders for a December release for 550 yen. Absolutely dirt cheap for something that is very promising, judging from the experiences with the original RX-78-2 entry grade. And to top it all off, if you want a heavy arm version, it's going to be a January 2022 release for 770 yen. So yeah, the exact same Gundam, the Strike Gundam entry grade, but with extra armaments without the arm Schneiders. So you do need to get both versions of the entry grade Strike in order to have the full loadout. But the other one you can dump it off to customize or whatever. And of course, we do have a clear version as a prize for a September release for 790 yen per attempt to win this kit right here. So if you are lucky enough to win one of these, you will be experiencing the entry grade Strike Gundam early. Good to see. And of course, here you have the Strike Rouge entry grade, because of course they're going to milk the Strike for all it's worth, and the Strike Rouge is just merely a color variant. This is going to be a light arm version, which means it only comes with the arm Schneiders for an October release for 1650 yen. It's a round box. What do you mean by that? I don't know. But anyways, that's gonna wrap it up for Gunpla news of April 2021. I'm sorry this video dragged on for far too long, but there was indeed a lot to cover. So that's gonna wrap it up for this video. Tell me in the comments below what you are excited for this batch of releases, and thank you all so much for watching. If you did enjoy it, please be sure to leave a like, comment, and also subscribe for more Gunpla reviews, Gunpla news, and all that kind of stuff. Don't forget to turn on the notification bell for more uploads of mine, and I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.